Joe Biden has done something that I think most of us, if we stop and think for a moment, will celebrate, applaud. Yesterday, the Biden administration suspended oil drilling leases in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, which was one of the Orange Vomit's great achievements. Remember that? Remember when the Orange Vomit was president and he, with the stroke of his pen, fuck the caribou and the polar bears and the fish and the native people, fuck them all, the long, the short, and the tall. We're going to open up the ANWR to oil exploration. Well, not anymore, orange scum. This was Biden delivering on his promise to protect the Alaskan tundra from fossil fuel extraction. Now, the right-wingers, the Christian fascists in this country, just absolutely lost their shit over this. Absolutely. Because, see, one of the organizing principles of the Christian fascists is that they can do anything they want to do to destroy the planet. And unless their fucked up God is in the right mood to allow them to destroy the planet, it won't happen. Or I should say maybe the wrong mood. See, the Christian fascists really do believe they can do anything, and Daddy up in the heavens, Daddy will be watching, and everything will be okay if Daddy doesn't react. This is sick. I mean, it's sick. Anyway, where was I? Oh, God. The Christian fascists, I mean, it just makes my teeth hurt. They are so goddamn stupid and ignorant and evil. Evil. Anyway, what the Biden administration did yesterday sets up a process that could halt drilling. As the New York Times describes it, one of the largest tracts of untouched wilderness in the United States, home to migrating waterfowl, caribou, polar bears. But it also lies over as much as 11 billion barrels of oil. And that's where it should stay, buried. A formal order from Interior Secretary Deb Haaland paused the leases. And in fact, it's until her agency has completed an environmental analysis of what drilling in that very delicate ecosystem, what sort of impact it would have. And they want to take a legal review of the Orange Vomit's decision to grant the leases. Now, this follows what President Biden said on Inauguration Day, which was that executive order. Remember that? I think the first day in office, he signed the order to halt Arctic drilling. But it also, what happened yesterday, the suspension of these oil drilling leases, it also serves as a very evident, obvious way for Joe Biden to solidify his environmental credentials. Because he has come under fire, and rightly so, from activists angered by his recent quiet support for other fossil fuel projects. Yes, he's been doing both. He, if you remember, he opposed in court last month shutting down the Dakota Access Pipeline. He opposed it. Biden opposed, had the administration opposed the lawsuit that said it's time to shut it down. Now, that pipeline is carrying about 500,000 barrels of oil daily from North Dakota to Illinois. And Biden also had a chance to halt the pipeline while the Army Corps of Engineers conducts that court-ordered environmental review, but the Biden administration opted not to intervene. And back in Wyoming, the Biden administration defended 440 oil and gas leases that were issued by the Orange Vomit on federal land that is also critical habitat to pronghorn deer, mule deer, sage grouse, not to mention people who live there. So, Biden's record so far is very mixed. Maybe it takes a little time. Biden has never been a liberal. Please understand that. Never. He's been a centrist, just about. Matter of fact, Biden, if you look at his legislative history over 35, 40 years, he was center right, always. Center right. Kind of like Barack Obama. I remember a lot of people said, well, we have Barack Obama in the White House now. He's going to be a liberal, which was a classic example of racism because everybody thought, well, he's African-American. He's got to be a liberal. Oh, please. Oh, God, I wish people could stop that shit. That classification based on race or appearance or what have you. Some of the most conservative folks in America are African-American. Really? Yeah. But Biden has always been center-right. But what has happened, I think a lot of the damage done by the right wing in this country over the past 40 years, horrendous damage, once they became infiltrated with these Christian fascist vermin, has come to light. And Biden is starting to understand what the Christian right has done and how he was part of it. Let's face it, Biden is an ardent Catholic. He really is. I mean, he's I don't know if he's a go to church every day Catholic, but he's an ardent Catholic. And I have no problem with that because Biden is not trying to tell me that I am some kind of scum or I'm going to burn in hell or my life is rotten because I'm not an ardent Catholic. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that Biden has been center-right most of his political life is in stark contrast to what the left wing of the Democratic Party is pressuring him to do. This was the idea behind electing Hillary Clinton instead of the Orange Vomit. And Hillary Clinton should have won, but she didn't. The idea was Hillary Clinton, yes, she was even more center-right than Biden was. But the idea was put her in office and then apply pressure to, through her staff, through her advisors, through her cabinet, apply pressure to force her back to the center and then to the left. And of course, nobody ever got the chance, and I'm not sure if that would have worked with Hillary Clinton. But with Joe Biden, in my humble opinion, that precisely is how it has worked. Get rid of the Orange Vomit, the fascist Nazi son of a bitch, Donald Jesus Trump, get rid of him. Roll the dice with a center-right candidate, Joe Biden, and then have enough members of the Progressive Caucus in the Democratic Party, in positions of leadership, in positions of influence, to let President Biden know, look, man, you got to come off that center-right bullshit. You can be center if you want to, but be center-left. So that's why it's a little bit difficult to figure out what Biden's environmental policies or thoughts and feelings really are. He talks the talk, but when it comes time to walk the walk, in so many instances, he kind of backs down. But that's okay. That's okay. Who said this? Let me see here. I guess it was, well, just give me a second. Was it, Gina McCarthy, the White House domestic climate policy advisor. And she said, quote, President Biden believes America's national treasures are cultural and economic cornerstones of our country. And he is grateful for the prompt action by the Department of the Interior to suspend all leasing pending a review of decisions made in the last administration's final days that could have changed the character of the Alaska National Wildlife Refuge forever. End quote. So, the damage that the orange vomit did just as he was being kicked to the curb after losing the last election, the damage is, were it allowed to proceed, would be incalculable. Had this filthy, rotten bastard been reelected or elected the first time, however you want to put it, even with help of the Russians this time he couldn't do it. But had he been reelected, OMFG. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.